one. That's why. Maybe. There it goes. Okay. A minute. I promise that I totally set up to stream and never hit the start stream last week. It's been a couple weeks. My daughter was in town, so I'm spending time with her and and everything. And then things I was hoping to be back next week. Things kind of got out of hand. Last week, I got a lot done, a ton, and I was so proud of myself. And then I looked up and realized I had never hit the start stream button. So yeah. So just a couple things. I mentioned this on the No Man's Sky stream that I am going to stop the Minecraft stream for right now. The advice for running shaders and or even just running Java Edition so it doesn't skip around and cause so many delays like the problems I had the last time that I streamed was literally stop using all redstone, put everything down to vanilla Minecraft, and just hope. And I looked into it, and I could go to Bedrock, which was much stabler, and since the release beginning of June, everybody, if you own Java, you got Bedrock for free. So it was like, okay, cool. Except for I can't bring my world in. I can bring an empty version of my world in. I'd have to start over. And I don't have the mental space to do that at the moment. So we're going to have to revisit that. That doesn't mean it's over forever, but I'm going to come back to Minecraft. But later. Right now we're going to deal with writing. Writing is cool. So apparently most of my writing stuff updated today. Actually, just checking a couple things. World Anvil just recently updated with new dynamic timelines, which is kind of cool, where you can age your map with your timelines. You can just have more dynamic. So I'm going to look at that when I get to the timeline part of it. So that's kind of cool. Plotter had an update for searching categories and things like that. And Aeon had a bug fix update. So had to do some updating today, which is kind of cool. I've also been working on a short story in this world, and it's a series of short stories I've been meaning to do for a while, so I figured that's a good way to get myself back into the writing habit. Have I had 100% success? No. Not 100% success with the writing habit so far, but I am working on it. So hopefully that's what we get here. I'm going to move this a little bit, so hopefully that's a little bit better. I've been trying to mess with the settings. I do have my fan going. I'm sorry, it's too hot for me. So it'll be intermittent. So I do apologize, but hopefully it won't be too bad. I don't have like the super fan going. I might switch for when I'm streaming because I think it's a little bit quieter, but I'll have to test that out. Okay, so where am I? Let's go over some things that I worked on last time, which is when I started getting this in order. Since I figured out to just use the regular template, I'll show you what I've done here. Here's Bentaurus, just with the regular template, so it's all in one place, and I don't have to have multiple pages. I don't really have enough information for that, but I liked all the stuff that I kind of did. I still need to do a little bit, like getting these on separate lines, making this look, but I got all the main information there, so I need to go back and do that for everything. The other thing, So we got all the countries in there. Started working on the encyclopedia. I created a geology folder because there's magic rocks. I'm a person who likes rocks a lot. And hopefully this summer I'll finish cataloging all of the rocks that I've inherited from my grandfather through my uncle. And there's going to be some rocks happening. And that'll probably be on my YouTube channel for now. I don't know how I'd live stream that, but I could figure it out, I think. So, but rocks. But I'm working on that. But I like rocks. So, of course, there's magic rocks in my world. Why wouldn't there be? So, geology, fauna and flora, deities and religion, and we'll kind of look and see. I don't think I actually. Oh, I did put the mineral article in there. So I started that with thin stone. Thin stone is this enchanted stone. It's enchanted because it has a magic enchanted into it, but it's not done by people who it's mined that way. And if it's shaped to a flat tablet, it stores all the information marked onto it. And people can bring it out. And I realized I should give a better description there because I did not finish my description of how that all kind of comes out. And I'm going to check my nature section here. Yeah, I don't have it in there either. And this needs some editing too. I just realized like something's not bolded. But I have 3 here. Fuel crystals. Most things in this world run off of a concept of these fuel crystals that are mined. It's kind of an iridescent quartz looking like crystal that that they found when kind of paired with metal, specifically copper. In this case, making copper very important in this world. It will produce electricity. So this powers our airships, powers our sea ships, powers sliders, powers all kinds of vehicles in this world, trains. So this gives them a different level of technology a lot faster, where they do not have to deal with a combustion engine. And then I also have a combustible, very volatile metal that explodes upon impact. That had a lot to do more with the previous version of the book that I'm working on now, but it does still play a big role in the world. It's used for weapons. It's not as volatile. It's probably like, I'm not being very explicit here, so I need to be more explicit in this. So I'm going to probably work a bit on that today. But we also got into fauna and flora. So I kind of want to do cards down here so that you don't have to keep clicking on these. I don't like that it doesn't say expanded. If it's under this, stay expanded. Wish that was a thing. Maybe that's a thing in that one menu thing, which I still need to figure out. It might be. But in the fauna section, not a lot. This doesn't actually have all of the fauna either. This is one of the things I need to mine through my... I'm concentrating on magical fauna here. There are deer, snakes, rats, typical Terran fauna on my world. But we don't really need that explained. So, but I do have things. So Pixies, supposedly they're mythological in that no one really knows that they exist, but the Owl Frost is special. There is a lot of magical creatures on the Isle of Frost, and it's a good thing they can't get off. But it is a huge island, so there's lots of places to roam. So if the Pixies are causing Dust Eaters, that they would, if they could prove that, they'd totally be after those Pixies. More cats. I totally have talking cats. There's no talking cats in the book. At least not in the current version. In the original, the very first inkling shortish story that I wrote in this world, way back, years and years and years and years ago. I'm not exaggerating. A very long time ago. Think when your parents were young, kind of time ago. Yeah. So there, I had a talking cat in the book, but I removed it. Didn't make sense, but I still have them in there. They're not very common. They don't like people very much, so you're not. It's going to be very, very rare that you'd see them among people, so it doesn't matter. Unicorns actually play kind of a significant role in the first book. My unicorns are carnivores. They're predators, and they have a magic to be able to ensnare, to have prey come towards them. You know, that whole mystical innocence magic is really actually very deadly because they want to eat you. You are food. Dust Eaters. Dust Eaters are these humanoid people. They are people. No one believes they're human, even though they are born to humans. But they're born with a face that kind of looks like a moth face that opens up and contains this vortex which just consumes everything in like a cone in front of it. And they're horrible. But this kind of religion has grown up around them on the Isle of Frost. So they serve a purpose, which keeps the humans of the Isle of Frost safe. But part of the magic of the Isle of Frost is nobody knows where these monsters come from. Like, they find nests from time to time, and it makes sense, except for when they think they've eradicated, things come back. Like, they're not gaining any ground, which is why there's no more than a fairly large city on the Isle of Frost. There's some village outpost kind of things, but really nothing major or significant. All right, where am I? Then we're getting to deity's religion, which I haven't actually put in here yet, but that's where I'm at. So I think, not the microphone. I think what I'm gonna do. Oh, has helped that now I have the second monitor on, so I can see the chat like out of the corner of this eye. So, but I keep kind of checking the levels of everything, so that's not really too bad, right? Cool. Let's see here. Let's go on my dashboard. Article. And we're gonna go to the articles here. I just realized they've kind of changed up their menu here with like advanced tools and stuff. That's fine. There goes my fan again. All right, let's see. Let's. I want to delete this introduction to the encyclopedia article. That's gotta go. This is where I put all the templates too, so I could find them again, but obviously they're all drafts. Let's take a look at geology here. Here we go. Spermium. Let's get this all in paragraph tags. Let's see, the crystals generate electricity and combined with a metal such as. Someone is going to say that this wouldn't work for reasons that it would be very bad. But honestly, it's magic. All of these stones, they're magic rocks. Just remember that. Magic rocks. Soft magic. Okay. Marked on it. Let's... Marked on it. Letters are written with a stylus of the same material. Information can be brought back up by laying a hand on the tablet and thinking. This actually kind of has to do with the dream. It's that dream connection that everyone on this planet has, no matter how little or how small, or the people without the dream still have that connection, whether they know it or not. It's assumed that they don't, though. The dream's not measurable in a sense. It's kind of show me what you can do with it, and if you can't, then you don't have it, kind of deal. And thinking of the subject matter. The action is shown on the stone. Oops. On the stone. And stone. It can be scrolled through, and when I first thought of this way back when, while it's pre-smartphone and everything like that, there were the mini tablets, the Palm Pilots, things like that. Scrolling was a thing still at that point, so I just realized something, and I'll be right back. Should just take a second. Just realized I forgot to let the bird out. He's been in there since dinner time. He has to be in his kennel because he gets food angry and will attack Quibble. Yeah, poor Quibbles. He will attack Quibble if Quibble still has food. So, and Quibble won't eat his food if he's locked up. He won't. He just pines away like the little cheeky he is. So, so Gur has to be in his kennel when he eats. And he actually, he likes his kennel. He sleeps in there all the time with it open. It's a nice little safe, comfy place with a bed in there and everything for him. So he usually settles down after a meal anyway, but I know he's thirsty, poor boy. They're not in their kennels very often, at least not locked into them, so it's just during meal times for Gur. And he used to do the same to Winnie, but Winnie had a way to stop him. Like she could, oh hey, Real Salties, hello, how are you? I don't have a book out already, unfortunately. No, it's not something I've been able to get done. My first iteration of the book that I'm working on now, not my first, like what I thought was the final iteration, I got quite a few requests for, and a couple fulls, and I actually made it as a finalist in the Harper Voyager, one of the Harper Voyager contests when they open up and have like the contest. I don't know if they've done it recently. I haven't looked, to be honest. So, but it never actually got published, and no. But I do have some short stories out there that I've published, mostly. So, unfortunately, the last couple of years has been really tough, and part of this is me trying to get back into the writing mode. But getting back into that creative bit. So, yeah. Cool. But thank you for stopping by and chatting and everything, too. I really appreciate it. Oh. But yeah, part of this is kind of getting those juices flowing. I have started a new short story, which is the first new one in a year and a half. So I am kind of excited about that just because it got so bad last year. I didn't think I was going to write again. So I'm so glad that I am, at least. And I'm trying to get back on a writing schedule. It's been a bit of stop and start. But yeah, but this is helping with that. This is getting my head in that world space. Can you scroll through and remove that as well? I'm not going to get more technical on that description. Let me save that. So I'm just working on the geology and minerals here. Let me get, there we go. Oh, there we go. The page looks a little bit better now. Has a little bit better description. But now I'm moving into religion here. Let's get to that. So it gets... How did I want to do this? Deities and religion. I did start making an article for each of the sections here. Technology. Sorry, I'm just taking a look. So religion. I kind of want to put. Let's put an over article. I like ampersands. I like using them in titles. I'm really bad about it. Uh, Added that to dictionary. Did I spell right? Let's create that article. This up. Oops, range. Range is a different one. I always want to grab this. This is what you usually grab. This is what you grab to drag to a category here. Not the other way around. I don't know why they have different buttons. It's fine. Let's get this one. Sidebar. Boring stuff out of the way. Should we just... I need to look at something. Hold on. That's what it is. Should just hit the back button. I'm not saving nothing. Design. No. Um. Okay, religion on heaven is at times absent and others rich. Most religions are led by what is called night. Do I want to say it that way? It's not untrue. I'm going to expand a dreamer who has what, say, what some powers beyond what, there's no you, beyond what is considered. I'm not going to put that in quotes. I'm going to italicize. Emphasis. Okay. As such, gods walk the earth or fly above it in some cases. So I'm going to call that good. Publish. Okay. So where do I want to start? Where do I start here? Let's start with atheism. It's something to be worshipped. Countries. Let's see, Bentaurus. and Himalaya are atheist countries. So that's actually the contention. Where the first book starts is that Himalaya, which has traditionally been an atheist country, is starting to adopt a religion. In some ways, a reconstructionist religion. There's been very few adherents. Some of them have been considered zealots and nothing to be paid attention to. But it turns out that the current king, in his old age, he has an invalid daughter who it's very unlikely she will outlive him, and no other issue. And he starts to adopt this religion, and that is kind of one of the tinder points in what changes this country. So, but at this point, that's what they're considered. So these are countries that adhere to this classification system because Residia and Ventaris are such huge empires. If I say there's other countries, there are, but it's kind of interesting, different in the way. Well, okay, let me try to be more clear here. I mean, I'm losing all my words. I haven't written up the countries that are outside of these political machinations yet, except for a few. So there are other atheist countries out there. But Residia is already, I think we discussed in a previous stream that it's a theocracy, which scares Ventaris and kind of fuels them to start be more aggressive in what they're doing too. So, yeah. Let's see. Often these, I'm going to choose that too. These places fear nightmares as aberrations, with, if left unchecked, will dominate the local populations. That is not wrong, unfortunately. Very not wrong. They assume they have it under control, though. So there's that. It's not mean that all the dreamers know a nightmare when they see one. Often a dreamer cannot see much beyond their own power. Despite the connection to the dream, dreamer is just as worldly as a regular human. Gods from other religions may exist, but dreamers will categorize them as nightmares, not God. So that's the stance of atheism in this world. Save that. AC. Is that? Dreamer. Call that good. Right now. Save changes. So let's take a look. Oh, I forgot the. That's right, I don't need to put the thing there, but let's stick that in. Go back to our articles. Okay. What's next? And I know I need to copy it back in here. I need to do that for all of this as well as fix the country part. Oh, the Temple of Union. Okay, so this is one of my favorites. Before the age of the first Manali, the Fire King came to a small island in the North Tamara Sea. He came to the small shivering Iho. the people of fire and air, and gave them warmth, raising a ring of volcanoes around the island. Give me a bride of water and earth, he said, sinking beneath the waters of the cove, and I will keep you warm. One young woman wandered into the salted sea, and months later came the first Manali. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, what that is. And I just realized there needs to be an of there. So let's get this all copied. We can talk about the Temple of Union. So let's see. Temple of Union. Let's move. Why can't I? Oh, I gotta go into the thing to arrange it. Let's arrange it. Temple of Union. I'm gonna stick you up here. Atheism. Let's put that. Okay. So this is the Fire Island. The Ring of Fire area that we're talking about here. The Iho are the main people on the inner cove of that island that is surrounded by volcanoes. And they live in a very shallow, the area that they're at, the sea is very shallow. It does not, it's not the worst for drinking, not the greatest for, well, it's salt water. You don't want to drink it. They have to drink water from the island. But it's a very tropical area, actually, in the northern hemisphere. But the Fire King is their god. And that's always been one of my favorites. And I think this was my actual first attempt at creating a religion. I'm so fascinated by religion, honestly, just so fascinated on it. And this is my first time actually creating, like, what is the origin story of that? And the idea is that this noble sacrifice is a child of the other. And it comes few and far between. Like, I think it said in another live stream in the village of Iho, there have been 88 Manalis in all of their history. So with that, there could be hundreds of years between Manalis. I think there's 100 years between the 87th and the 88th Manali. And the child is raised in following very specific rituals. And once she reaches a certain age, she's brought to the sea, and the Fire King takes her to be his bride, quote unquote, consuming her. So it's not pleasant. It's a question of the other. And I don't know. I don't know if I can. I don't know. I have to think about what that means. So, as far as writing it in this day and age, I wrote a small novella originally. I then tried to write a short story, but nothing that anybody picked up. I don't know, but I won't. But two characters that come later in the series do come from this island, and from what happens there when a Manali is born, which is pretty grotesque and violent. But let's see here. We can auto link this. 8 possible links out of 42 articles. Selective replace. We'll replace that one. The Village of the Iho. Oh, that's one of the things I have to stop because I need to actually fix a couple things. Okay, so we'll come back to linking. I forgot about that. I got to fix some of those country articles so I can do the linking. Okay. Okay, so the Iho believe that they are born of the fire and only exist the will of the Fire King. Every few hundred years, so Manali is born. This is a girl child. And I actually want to change this. There we go. She's an offering. The Iho give the Fire King so that they may continue to live in the circle of fire. Part of their belief is that if they do not give the Manali to the Fire King or fail in raising her to adulthood, Fire King will consume the Island Island, the Iho in her stead. Okay, so the Priestess of Union. Let's bold that. Raises the Manali under... Oh, and I'm already forgetting to put paragraphs around this. Otherwise, it'll all bunch together and be sad. All right. The Priestess of Union. Give her to the Fire King. She teaches the Manali of previous Manalis and feeds her only banana leaves, coconut, and seaweed broth. Manalis are not taught the ways of the temple. Okay. Let's see. Fish. Vegetables. I know banana leaves. Okay, yeah. I know bananas are a man-made fruit. But it's just going to have to be what it is. Fish, vegetables, grains are forbidden. Let's see. Manalis are not taught the ways of the Union Temple. The Iho and their culture. The Iho, or their culture. Their culture and history. Unless it pertains to the Manali. This keeps her at a distance. While still alive, the Manali is used to bless the outgoing and incoming tide, but otherwise is not included in the Iho rituals. She is not educated and often neglected. No attachment is considered. We're going to. That's not what I meant to do. No attachment. This is a policy. Is considered the best. I'm going to call that policy. For the Iho, as an ignorant object is an easier sacrifice. On the day of the sacrifice, the Manali is attended by all of the temple, who clean and dress her. After the sacrifice, the maidens of the temple fish the body of Manali out of the sea and burn it. The Priestess of Union is a hereditary title, as are all positions in the temple. The oldest female of the temple who has born children is usually the priestess. Besides raising Manali, the priestess performs the bleeding of the mother of the Manali to break the mold and takes the prayers of the faithful. And I'm going to put that in parentheses. Kills the mother. I.e., they don't want her bearing more. And it's pretty horrible. Takes prayers of the faithful eye. She also sweeps the stoop of the temple to show the Manalis the way is always open. I'm going to hit B on that too. The Matron of Union, the oldest woman in the temple who has born a child. She instructs the younger family members the ways of the Temple of Union. So basically, she keeps house. The Taruna of Union, mother of children who are younger than the matron. They help with instruction and aid villagers with complaints. These often are married daughters of the Matron of Union. And I'm forgetting paragraph. Okay. The Mahila of Union, women in the temple married but childless. They counsel families and care for young children of the temple. So I don't know. Anyway, Maiden of Union, unmarried women in the temple. They clean up after all ceremonies of the priestess and other temple goers. After the ceremony of union, they burn the body of the Manali. What's left of it. Wrong button. Okay. Men of the temple study and record the history of the village. They are not really. Okay. The mother of the Manali is killed during birth. The priestess makes sure she bleeds to death, cutting the Manali from the mother's belly with a shell knife. This is known as the earth sacrifice. So, while the Manali is considered to be of water and earth, her sacrifice is going to be in the water. And so they also make a sacrifice to the earth with the mother's blood. King is mostly unknown. Let's see here. Yeah, this is probably one of the more horrific and barbaric. I mean, they do it for survival. But this is one of those better ways scenarios. He only appears in the village at the time of sacrifice. While the temple teaches that the Manali is fathered by the Fire King and is the same person with each birth, no one is sure. No one knows what the king gets from the sacrifice. The Manali is supposed to be of water and earth, which quenches fire. However, why would the Fire King want to be quenched? This is unknown. So, yeah. So we'll give a few things here. Fire King, Manali, Temple of Union, and I'll click it. Done. Save changes. Let's make sure I didn't break things. reload this one. Did I do the section? No. Always forgetting. So, go to deities and religion. Temple of Union now. The quote. Cool. It's coming together. Feels like it's coming together to me. I don't feel like I'm struggling as much with figuring out World Anvil. Okay. Let's see what we have next. What's next? Many color goddess. Probably one of the central themes and questions of what I write has to do with religion. Like I said, since it fascinates me so much, I grew up with an absence of it. I always want to know more about it, and struggling with that is probably one of the things that fascinates me the most. All right, let's arrange you as next and edit you before I forget. All right. Many color goddess is the goddess of Residia. So Residia is a theocracy. The empire exists under the many color goddess. This name actually comes from outside Residia, as outsiders see the empire with many sects that all worship the empress. This, however, is far from the case. Each sect in Residia is distinct, ruled over by a minister. Every sect believes the empress is a representation of their goddess and not a representative of the other sect's goddess. Each sect performs an essential civic or governmental duty. So while they may call each other blasphemous, the country could not exist without each sect. The government is run by a council of ministers. Each minister heads a sect, with the exception of the minister of state, who coordinates all other ministers and is considered a voice of the empress. The empress is never seen in public and only, except on rare occasions, because it's not never. Occasions. And the only occasion, except on rare occasions, otherwise, the ministers. So we had the paragraph button there. So normally this would not work without great fear. However, the difference is that the magic works, meaning that every sect, so there's the Saracai, the brown robes, who they provide healing. So they run the hospitals, they run nursing centers, they provide medicine. The Saracai have that. Another dreamer who is not gifted with the same gifts as the Saracai can't go and take their magic. It's not possible. Since dreamers cannot take each other's magic, there is little reason to now obviously you could fight over who controls that, but that's not a question for this right now. I'm not saying that won't happen. So under the ministers is the House of Lords. Now I'm kind of explaining the government. I should probably put a note that the government of Residia goes to here, and really because it's so intertwined with their religion, it's hard to see. But anyway, under the ministers is the House of Lords. These nobles run the bureaucracies of the government. They never see the Empress. There's one thing I have to write, to which responds not. Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna hit a spoiler on that. Okay, so we're gonna hide that part of this one. There we go. Some spoilers in there. From a distance. There should be an only in there. Okay. So let's add some paragraph tags. I think that's that's a spoiler in the second book that I wrote that I don't know will ever see the light of day. I need to revisit it. I just got it to the point where I wanted to start shopping around, and I tried to do a few places, but yeah. Okay, so let's see how this looks. Encyclopedia, Deed is Religion, Many-Colored Goddess. It's not finished. Cool. Okay, so we got a spoiler in there. And now we have sex and I need to get that in there. So, what do I know? There's the Gray Goddess, their sect, the Suriel. They provide training for warriors in the military, and on the military sect, there's actually also the Gray Goddess sect is split. The Suriel is split in half, so normally it's kind of like the warrior caste, as well as a certain select contemplative class, a monk, if you were, and what they do exactly what people think they do. Think they contemplate the goddess, that they do this holy work that helps the goddess reach her warriors. It's really kind of unknown what they actually do, especially when people start realizing how things are interconnected. But they're also don't have a full representation in the main city of Lambus, the capital city, where most of their sects do. So they're out there on their own island, actually, just outside of the city, doing their thing for training and all that. Sarah and I talked about the Blue Wall sect, which their name escapes from one of those things I have to mine through the stories for. They are responsible for building basically the magical wall that protects Residia. So, Ventaris assumes that a nightmare is doing it. but they are unable, once the Residians take over a piece of land, they are not able to access it, and they can't figure out why. Like, their ships cannot move forward. But what's happened is that the sect has the ability to put up this kind of magical barrier, and how they do that is slowly seep away at themselves. So they basically their own life essence. So basically, a wall of ghosts protects the Empire of Cydia. So it's very important, if you're fighting a war against them, that they do not get any of the blue robes onto that land. However, Bentars is not aware of the sect. Most are not. They don't really know the difference. They're becoming aware. They've had some intel that this is what is happening after many years. But it becomes very important that you don't let, if we're sitting as a foothold, it has been impossible to remove them, which is why they're the largest empire in the world. Are they evil? I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say anyone, except for perhaps one very specific person, is evil. Well, I lie. Two very specific beings are evil, but as a whole. But I wouldn't consider any of the countries evil in them of themselves. They have their own concerns. They have their own ways of doing things. But yeah. But anyway, I'm a little bit over time, and I need to get going and run some errands and stuff. So, thank you all who've come to watch me ramble on about my world and work a little bit more on this. But I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, and then tomorrow I will be streaming No Man's Sky, and then I'll be back again next week here for this. Also, on YouTube, of course, I'm posting videos on Saturdays. So don't forget to check that out. There should be a link there in the about section. But if you're watching this on YouTube after I've pushed it over, please like and subscribe. Leave comments. Tell me what you think. Thank you so much. Bye.